This is a great question. Why have we forgotten the connection between all? Why have we forgotten the connection between all? That's why we're here. We're here to have a individual fear-based experience. We are here to experience our fears, to find our connection to source, to God fully. We are here quite literally to feel our separation. That's why we're in the physical world, to feel separate and alone and afraid, so that we can come back to finding love and living love fully. That's the goal. That's the reason. And you could not do that if you had a big support system around you. You could not do that if you knew that you could lean into somebody around you or the people around you. You could not do that. You could not have that private, individual, fear-based experience without feeling separate and alone. You couldn't do it. The connection itself negates the lesson. So we come here, we forget our connection. We forget our oneness with God. And you think about what Jeshua said, the Father and I are one. Greater works than I have done, you will do. All these things that he said were all about you're bigger than you think you are, because here in this place, you don't think you are. And you are connected to all things, right? That's the important part of the teaching, is that, you here in this place, you are separate and alone. I grew up with a mentally abusive father, right? And every so often, the whip would make it, the belt would make its way out, and we'd have those experiences too. But when you look at the world, and you look at what you are experiencing in the here and now, you're at it alone. I was in a family of 7 kids with that father and that mother. Mother was overwhelmed, had a bunch of kids, and had a full-time job that took her to work 7 days a week. 7 days a week she was at work, and I felt like I was raising myself. I felt alone. I felt like I had no guidance whatsoever, and I really felt unloved, because every time I would go to them with something, I would usually get yelled at or screamed at or knocked back in some form. I was getting real serious conditional love as opposed to unconditional love. And when I look back now, I realize that was beautiful, because that was me experiencing being alone in a crowd. I was experiencing me having to deal with my experience. I remember one day walking out of my driveway in my parents' house, and my brother was talking to my mother in the kitchen. And as I walked past the window, I heard exactly what they were saying. He said, John's funny, but he's weird as shit, pardon my French. And Mom says, yeah, I know, I don't understand it. And so, I felt very separate and alone. And I felt very disconnected from all of them. And I blame a lot of it on the fact that I was more open. I was very different, My experiences of God and the church were very different from all of my brothers and sisters, definitely different from my parents. And, I was having out-of-body experiences as a child. I was having imaginary friends showing up and talking to me. I was having all kinds of big esoteric. I was having, I'd go to bed at night and I'd feel the room that I slept in had beams on the ceiling, and I would feel the beams on my back, which meant I was on the ceiling looking down at my body as a kid. I could literally feel where I was pressed against the ceiling, and the beam was arching my back, because it felt uncomfortable because I could feel the beam. But I used to have those all the time. I was very different, right? But I'm here. I was here experiencing that alone. When I had 6 brothers and sisters and 2 parents, but I was alone in my experience. I was here to feel my separation, to feel my anxieties, to feel my fears, and to experience those things. And it's in some cases, pass those fears and anxieties on to others, not knowing what I was doing as a child, because that in itself is interesting. I was bullied, so sometimes I bullied, and it's just the wrongness of being alone and not being supported and not being guided lovingly. That's why with my son, I very, very carefully always talk to him about living loving life and treating people well, and respecting others. Like, for instance, what is respect? My son knows that when I say I'm going to be somewhere at a specific time, I'm early every time. And the one time that I ended up getting stuck behind a traffic accident, I literally was pulling up to the school and the phone rang because I was 1 minute late, because he thought something was wrong because I wasn't there when he came out. Because I'm respecting him enough to say, this is the time and I will be there. And because I respected him enough to say, this is the time and I will be there, even if it means I get there 10 minutes early and I sit outside, I'm going to be there because I love you enough to let you know and be comfortable in the fact that when I say I'll be there, I'll be there. And that's he has that support. I never had that kind of support when I was a kid. I never knew never knew if I was getting picked up or who was going to pick me up or whatever. But we are here to feel that separation, to feel that aloneness, to feel that disconnection, because we have to come to our own realization of what love is through our own personal, individual, separate fears. And that, I hope, answers your question. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.